Hey guys, so we have the full information about the changes coming to the existing links in Dokkan. Now, just to recap about what we talked about yesterday regarding the incoming link leveling system. So apparently that's a system that's coming to the game. The news talked about the ability to obviously level up your links. You start at level 1. It did not specify what level you cap out at for links, and it did not specify how you leveled up your links. So all we can do is speculate at this point, but I assume a lot of the links are going to just get stronger. I don't believe, like, for example, I don't think, like, if you have a Prepare for Battle, I don't think if you level Prepare for Battle to level 10 or level 12 or whatever the max is, it's not going to become all of a sudden like a 10 key link. It's just not going to happen that way. I could see it being something more like, I don't know, 2 key and 500 attack, or maybe not a flat boost. Maybe it's 10 key and 5% attack. 10 key, 5% crit chance, 10 key, 5% dodge chance. I don't know, something like that. They could do a lot. They could do a lot with this. And what would be cool is if they actually let you choose what you wanted to do with them, similar to how the potential system works. So what if they made you like choose between 2 options or 3 or 4 options? Where let's say you have Prepare for Battle, and let's say you have level 1 Prepare for Battle, and you go ahead and level that up to level 5. At level 5, you unlock the ability for that link to get a secondary buff, and you could choose attack, you could choose crit, you could choose additional dodge, I don't know, maybe like a very small chance to change certain orbs to rainbow or something. Like, there's a million things that they could do with this. This is interesting for sure. This is one of the better things they've done. And in terms of just the link skills that are changing that we already know the information for, I think that a lot of the changes they made were good. Very long overdue change, but I'm really glad that they're doing this now. Better late than never, obviously. But shout out to this website, dokkan-game-db.org. Very, very informative website. That's very. Actually, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it more clearly. This actually lists out all, obviously in Japanese, they listed out all the links here, as well as what the original values were and what the changed values were. So here it is, and I went ahead and I transcribed all of this onto a Word document. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that right here. Let me pull that up, make it a little bit bigger. So first of all, before we get into the details here, I just want to say that it was very clear what their philosophy was going into these changes, right? The changes are specifically designed to do 2 things here. Number 1, this change was designed to adjust these flat static values here, like defense plus 1,000, into percentage numbers so that it scales better if we start getting, I don't know, higher percentage leader skills, or even just they're scaling better already, right? Because like in the grand scheme of things, you have a unit with 100,000 defense. You give them 1,000 defense with this link, it's like not even worth it. It's adding 1% to their effectiveness in terms of defense. It's not even worth considering. But now, with 20% defense, I mean, it's adding 20,000 defense. So the math doesn't exactly work out to be that way, but obviously going to be a lot more effective now with the percentage-based link skills here. Now, that's not to say their initial design was bad. It's just outdated, because back when these links were initially designed, this was before like any percentage leader skills in the game. We had like the plus 3,000 to stat leader skills. So if you're really thinking about it that way, these links were actually quite good. Defense plus 1,000 back in the day was actually like one of the better links in the game. So in that sense, these links weren't bad for their times. It's just been 5+ years since they came out, and the game obviously has evolved way past that. So it's about time they did this update, and they did a good job here. And then number 2, they changed a lot of these links, like for example, Golden Warrior, where they have. Actually, I think this is wrong. Let me just check and make sure that that's right. Yeah, so that's actually wrong. Let me just change that quickly, because I was about to say they changed a lot of these like debuffing links to be all enemies instead of just one enemy. As you can see with Telekinesis as well, enemies defense minus 10%, and now it's all enemies defense minus 10%. So let's just go through this links transcribation, is that even a word? List that I created from this website, and after that we'll go ahead and talk about what I think are the most, I guess, the most impactful changes here. So first we have students. That's, again, so what I like what they did here was they gave a lot of these like older and like not really useful links like students, for example. Like who is linking up with the students link? It's like barely usable. But they gave these a much bigger boost than something like Saiyan Warrior Race, which is like omnipresent on a lot of the Saiyan units in the game. So that's pretty good. Crane School, attack plus 500 went to 15% attack. Again, it's definitely a bigger change in terms of the amount of value number-wise. This is going up, but in terms of how often you're going to see this actually activate, it's almost never. So even though they changed it to be this, which I think is good, it's never going to matter, pretty much. Unless we get like a godly Tien and Chaozu separately. We're going to link up with the Crane School link, I guess. Golden Warrior, we talked about this just now, so it went from enemies to all enemies, and it also is now a percentage defense debuff, but I mean, you're never going to notice the difference here pretty much ever. Telekinesis, same exact thing, went from just one enemy to all enemies, 10% defense minus. This is where we start getting into interesting things. It's more than meets the eye. I don't really know how useful this is going to be because it's mostly just a Kid Buu link. There are a few ways you can actually activate this. We'll go over that later. Messenger from the Future is our first really big one because Messenger from the Future was a link that Cell has, LR Cell, and LR Cell, now actually having this link not be dead anymore is actually quite good, so that's good. World Tournament Reborn went from 300 attack to 15%. Again, I don't think that's super important because no one's really ever going to use this. New, again, not really going to be used ever, but they did buff it to a pretty substantial percentage, 20%, which is pretty good. I don't know why they didn't just make it like 50 because it still would be trash at 50%, just letting you know. And then this is the one I really wanted to see in terms of like them changing it to a percentage boost, which is Saiyan Warrior Race. Obviously, 5% attack is not like, oh my god, he's hitting like millions and millions of damage harder than he was before this change, but it's like, trust me, this is gonna be better than attack plus 700. Attack plus 5% is much, much better. Respect can be useful. It's not the worst link ever, but it's definitely not good. So 500 to 15%, it's not bad. Android Assault's a good one because the Android team is a very defense-oriented team, and this defense plus 1,000, well, I mean, defense plus 1,000 is really not good, so them buffing that up to 10% was pretty good. I would have liked to see this link also start branching out and maybe doing something else. Like, I guess they wouldn't go ahead and give this like dodge or something in here, but maybe also give it attack because the Android team, like, it's definitely not a bad team, but giving them extra attack wouldn't hurt their balance of the game at all because of the fact that the Android team already is very defensive. They should have given them some more offensive options with this link, I think. So I think a 10% attack and defense change would be pretty good here, but as you will see with the rest of these links, they don't really change like the functionality of the link in terms of giving them additional effects on top of what they already had. They're mainly just updating the values themselves. Turtle School, attack and defense plus 500 goes to 10%. Okay, pretty good. This is actually a link that you can activate, by the way. Solid Support pretty much didn't change. It just went from attack to enemies defense to all enemies. So, in events where enemies can have their defense lowered, which is not that many, it's really not that noticeable of an effect anyway. Infighter went from, again, attacked enemies to all enemies. Frieza's Minion, 300 attack to 20% attack. This is like, until we get like the Ginyu Force / Minions, like super top tier units or something like that. Like, what if we got like a really good Tagoma or something? I don't know. Then I can see this link maybe potentially having some use, but right now it's just never going to be used. Dodon Ray, same thing as we talked about Turtle School pretty much, or it's not Turtle School, Crane School. It's not really going to be super useful right now. Now here is probably the biggest change of the second biggest change, sorry. This is the second biggest change of the entire update here, I would say. Kamehameha went from 2,500 attack to 5%. Now, if you guys didn't know, there's an entire category dedicated to the Kamehameha. So guess what? Every single unit on that category just got a 5% attack buff, pretty much. And when I start talking about the individual units that we're going to look at in a second here, I'm assuming that any flat boost they're getting equates to literally 0. Like, so basically, them giving this link a 5% attack boost, or a 5% buff, is basically giving the whole unit a 5% buff in the turns where they're activating this. And I'm going to assume that they're going to be activating this almost 100% of the time because of the fact that Kamehameha is just so common across all of these units. Frieza's Army is whatever, 1,000 defense at 20%. Tough as Nails is actually a pretty significant one. You talk about like the new Universal 11 team, Topo, Tough as Nails is a pretty common link for him to have. So him, you have some Topos on the team. They can link up with Tough as Nails. 50% defense is actually quite good. Speedy Retribution, attack plus 300. Now it's 10% attack. It's not the best link, so whatever. Attack Team of Terror, also not the best link. Red Ribbon Army, also like whatever. Resurrection F, this is interesting because you can actually run the rotation of the Tech Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta alongside the physical Super Saiyan Blue Goku, the Orb Changers that awoke, they got their Dokkan Awakenings alongside the STR Blue Kaioken Goku. This is actually going to be very significant now. I mean, you run them, they were already really, really good as a rotation. They're both basically getting a 10% just straight up attack buff on both of them. So that's going to be interesting to see. I think when this link update comes to global, the first thing I'm going to be doing is running that team because this is actually a really, really good change. New Frieza Army, I mean, again, this is the same thing where I was talking earlier, where it's like if they came out with like a new Tagoma or something, then it'll be alright, but right now it's just whatever. This is also another big one. Power bestowed by God. We just got news of a new Ultimate Gohan Dokkan Fest coming. Guess what? He's probably going to have this link. Vegito, he has this link. Like all those units, every single Vegito unit is going to have this pretty much. I mean, not every single one, but I think not every single one. We'll take a look at it later. But I mean, this is, again, 5% buffs, everybody has this link. Limit Breaking Form's pretty interesting because pretty much every single Super Saiyan 3 has this link as well, so they're all getting a 5% buff. Supreme Power is getting a 5% buff as well, and that's, you know, we're talking about the Majin Buu Saga here where a lot of those units have this link. Like, if they come out with a Spirit Bomb Goku from the Buu Saga or like some kind of exchange Spirit Bomb Goku, like he's going to have this. And every single Vegeta from there is going to have this, so this could be interesting coming up. We could see this come into play very soon. And last but not least, I think this is probably the most impactful change that we're going to see out of this update. Legendary Power. They thought it was okay to just update this from 5,000 attack to 10%. That is... That's literally like giving them another Fierce Battle. That's what this is. Pretty much. Every single LR in the game pretty much is getting a 10% attack buff from this link. And that's insane. This single-handedly, by the way, this one change is like power creeping the game. Just to let you all know. And it's also greatly increasing the value of just LR units in general. It makes you want to run them next to each other a lot more. Which is obviously there's obviously a reason why they did this, right? I mean, LRs are what the top selling units in the game are, and they want to push this link as like the best link, one of the best links in the game. So there's a reason why they didn't make this 5%. They made it 10%, right? They want people to pull for LRs. They want people to be running LRs in their team because that's what drives the revenue of the game. So those are the, I guess, summarizations of all the changes we got from the links. There is another portion of this site that actually does a really good job of breaking down basically which units are benefiting from the most changes. So, for example, Dead Yamcha is benefiting from 5 links. And you can actually click on this and it'll tell you exactly which links are changing. So we have Solid Support, we have Turtle School, we have Speed Type, which is, I think, Speedy Retribution, Infighter, and Kamehameha, right? So he's literally 5 out of his 6 links are changing and getting buffed. So... Dead Yamcha, it's still not going to be good, but it's funny that he's benefiting from it the most. So immediately, the first unit that jumps out at us is AGLLR Gohan. So let's quickly take a look at what he's getting. Saiyan Warrior Race going from basically 0 to 5%. Golden Warrior not really changing too much, so we'll skip that one. Kamehameha going to 5%, and then Legendary Power going to 10%. So he's basically getting a 5, 10, 20% attack boost from this update. Oh, I mean that's insane. Like just this, that's not even considering the fact that you're going to be able to eventually level up these links, right? I mean, every character's going to have that, but just these initial changes are like 20% buff to Gohan in terms of attack. That's pretty insane. And then some of the other units on here, this is characters that have 4 links that are changing. I mean, this guy, Kamehameha, Supreme Power, so he gets 5, 10, and then another 5. Same Warrior Race, 15% total buff to this guy. He's already really good. We're about to get an Ultimate Gohan, by the way, like I just mentioned earlier. Same Warrior Race, Infighter, but Infighter's not really changing. Power bestowed by God, so and Kamehameha too. So if the new Gohan, you know what's funny? We want the new Gohan to have Kamehameha now because of this. Now, I'm not saying 5% is like, oh my god, whoa, 5%, but instead of giving him something like just fodder, like 5% attack is actually not bad. So in total, this guy's getting a 15% attack boost, so pretty cool. And then we start getting down to the, like 3s and 2s, and look how many, there's so many LRs just all in here. And the reason is because of legendary power. It's just such a big change. Look at this. Gogeta. You guys ready for this? Watch this. Saiyan Warrior Race, 5%. Kamehameha, 5%. Legendary Power, 10%. He's getting a 20% buff. LR Strength Gogeta. And guess who else is getting a 20% buff as well? Vegito. Power bestowed by God. Saiyan Warrior Race. Legendary Power, 20%. Now, obviously, when I say these percentages, it's assuming that all those links are activated, so which is not always going to be the case, right? So just keep that in mind. But these are big changes. LR Cell. LR Cell is getting Messenger from the Future is going up to 5%. Kamehameha, again, 5%. And then Legendary Power, 10%. He's getting a 20% buff, LR Cell. In Super Battle Road, like, he's going to be one-shotting enemies. So, I don't know. And just, I think I forgot to mention this actually earlier, but notice how they didn't change any of the key links. I think that would have been a much bigger change if they did that. I'm not saying this change is not big, but I don't know. Key links needing to be changed. I mean, for Cell, right? We take a look at like Gentleman. Key +2 is not a bad link. It's just really hard to activate this. I don't know. I feel like they could. I feel like they could have made this like Key +4 or something, and it wouldn't have even mattered. But Vegeta and Nappa are getting Saiyan Warrior Race. Tough as Nails, by the way. Going to be really good on this unit. Defense plus 15%. That's going to be significant for sure. And then Legendary Power, obviously. All these links. Like, let's go down to the 2-1 over here. We have Goku and Frieza who are getting... this is just solid support, so not too much of a difference. But Legendary Power. All these units, every single one. And... like, even Jiren, who just came out, he's getting instantly buffed by the fact that this link is becoming attack plus 10%. UI Goku, he's getting a 15% buff from Kamehameha and Legendary Power. Like, what more can you ask for? Like, this update's insane. So, lastly, I just wanted to look at, quickly, the Kamehameha category here, because I feel like this is going to be the single category that gets the most, I guess, love from this update. Every single unit you see here, by the way, is getting at least a 5% buff from this update. So that just tells you how insane this is. I mean, Blue Kaioken Goku, like this guy, both LR fusions, LR Cell, LR Super Saiyan God Goku, like LR UI Goku. We can keep going. The LR fusions, LR in Vegito, LR Physical Gogeta, who are, by the way, getting more than just 5%. This guy's getting Kamehameha, 5%, Legendary Power, 10%, so 15% for him. Then we scroll down to LR Vegito. He's also getting Kamehameha and Legendary Power, so that's 15%. That's a really good rotation, by the way, just in case you were wondering. LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Tech Vegito Blue, Physical Vegito Blue. Like, the list just keeps going on and on. This guy who just got an Easy, who's insanely good. By the way, Legendary Power as well, so 15% for him. Just, I don't know. This is, honestly, this is going to push the power creep pretty heavily in this game, because you thought, like, let's go back to this list real quick. Like, you thought this guy was already hitting a lot, like, very hard. He's getting a 15% attack buff. This guy's going to be walking in. Turn 1, he'd be getting, like, a 5 million attack stat. Now he's going to be getting, like, a 5.8 million attack stat. So... just because of this one change. With him just existing, this buff is just making everybody that much better. So I guess my worry here is that power creep is eventually going to get out of hand, but this change is going to be contributing to that directly, like a lot. Because it's not just like, oh yeah, 1 or 2 units are getting better. Like, every single thing a unit you see here is getting better. Like, even this Gohan, Saiyan Warrior Race, Kamehameha. It doesn't say Legendary Power here, which is weird, but I guess they just missed that one. So he's getting a 20% buff, this Gohan. This Gohan's already hitting super hard. So yeah, I don't know. You can let me know what you guys think down below. I think this is a really, really good change, but I do think there are some power creep issues, quote-unquote issues, that need to be addressed, but they'll work around it, I think. I think buffing these flat boost links to a percentage is definitely necessary and overdue, but I'm glad that they did it at this point. Better late than never. So those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys think down below. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.